Welcome back to Stormworks Unlimited. This is your old pal Tater, and today in this episode I'm going to show you guys how to make giant fishing nets. So let's get started right away here. First things first, I'm just going to show you guys how big this net is. Let's turn the wind down, and I'm going to go ahead and hit into no clip mode, and we're going to go and just look at the size of this net. That is a big net. It is clear on the bottom of the ocean right now, and you can see all the fish swimming around down there. So I'm getting caught up in the net, and I only had the net out for like 30 seconds since I started the video. I put it out and hit record. So as you guys can tell, it's been in there a while and it's catching quite a few fish. I mean, a short while, catching quite a few fish. So what we're gonna do, and believe it or not, I can actually get bigger. I can actually run my cables out to even more and extend it to even larger. You guys can look at the little lights on the corners growing. Let me go ahead and no clip where I can see it. Does not want to show me, but anyway, there's the net. It's actually halfway under the bottom of the ocean because the ocean's not deep enough here. But I'm going to show you guys how to make big nets. I'm going to show you guys how to make this net controller. Extend, retract, booms, and release catch. And these booms, they just do this. Bring my booms up like that. And then it uses this keypad for the depth. So if I bring this up to 7 meters and I start retracting my nets, you'll see it coming on up. Like that, and then we'll flip our booms up, and that'll actually bring the net in somewhere where we can, let's slow down a little bit here, and then I hit the release button and we can go out and see how many fish we catch. And there's a lot of fish in that net for just about like a minute of trolling. So you guys can see these big nets really get some work done. So I highly recommend you guys watch this video and check out these massive nets. So let's see how many we got once these couple here bounce in. They're trying their dangest to bounce out of the boat. Oh, that one might do it. Oh, no, he got sucked in. So we ended up catching 58 fish in like a minute. So I'm going to show you guys how to set this up. Go ahead and take this back to the workbench. All right. I'm in the workbench here, and the first thing you guys will notice if I go into rope mode here is that I have my net is the entire size of my workbench. Now this will be super helpful because it allows you to expand your net bigger than if you make a little tiny net. Excuse me. The second thing you notice as far as expanding and retracting, here's how I've done this. Instead of running basic ropes, I run a cable anchor on-off input. I've got one of them set to retract. This one over here is actually set to extend, and then the one back here is set to release down here. So hook those up to your winches. I'm using large winches because the big nets have to be out a long ways for them to function correctly. So I'm using large winches. If you guys don't want to go this big, obviously you can just use the medium winches, but you're going to want to use at least a large or at least a medium or bigger because they have the on-off input nodes on them right here. Now I'm going to show you guys how to make a really basic setup. Now we're going to go ahead and get a blank microcontroller. We'll just do let's do a 3x5. That'll give us a little extra room to work. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to come into here, and first thing we're going to need is a composite input, and this is going to be our data, or not our data, our instrument panel. And then we're going to need release, extend, and retract. So we're actually going to call this one extend, and this is going to be an output. Retract, type. Also going to be an output, and then another output is going to be release. Now that takes care of most things. Now the next thing we'll need is something to set our depth with, and that is going to be our number input, and that's going to be a keypad. And then we're going to have to be able to set our booms. So a number output to our booms, because our booms are on a compact pivot. And then I think we're going to need, we need a couple other things too. Oh, yep, we need output for winch up and an output for winch down. And then we need input, a number input for winch length. Now you guys can control all 4 winches with just one set of controls for it, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. But for right now, the first thing we're going to do, actually, before we do that, we're going to go back here and label what all this is done. So channel 1 is going to be channel 1 extend, channel 2 retract, channel 3 release, channel 4 booms. And that'll just help us keep track of things as we're going along here. So just sort these out so they're not tangled up in each other. Okay. The first thing we're going to have to do is our, let's go do our winch up and down system. So winch length is going to come over here, and the ups and downs I think are right here. Winch up, winch down, yes. And then our keypad, and we need a keypad. Okay. So basically, if the winch length is greater than the keypad, we want to winch up. That'll shorten our line. And basically the same way for winching the other way, except this is a less than. So if the winch length is less than the keypad, we're going to winch down. That'll extend it. Now here's what's going to happen. If we set it just like this, it will work, but your winches will never stop running. They'll basically be bouncing back and forth because they take a second to stop, and they'll never get lined up perfectly. So what we want to tell it is, if our winch length is greater than our keypad and it's not, the winch length is not close to the keypad, then we can run the winch up. And same with the winch down. So we need 2 ands. We're going to put an and here and an and here, and we're going to hook them in line. And then we need a not. So basically this will always be on unless it is equal. So unless this is equal to this, and let me stretch those out a little bit so you can see them better. So now it's saying that we can run the winch up and down as long as the winch length and the keypad are not equal to each other, but we need to set the epsilon a little bit better, so I'm just going to set it to 0.5, and that's going to give us a ½ meter buffer. So let me stretch these out so you can see them a little bit better. And you can take a quick screen cap of that, or pause the video here if you want to know how to make that part of it. Now that is the really basic winch up, winch down. Now also we want to be able to set our winches to the same length before we get going, because with our cables being stretched all over the place when they spawn in, our winches are not going to be set the same length. So let's go ahead and put an OR in right here, and that will say we can do all of this, or we could do something else. I'm actually going to change this to a different node. And what we're going to do is, if the keypad is equal to 0, so boom, boom, then it'll just winch up all the time. But we don't want it to just constantly run, and we also don't want our winches hammering, or not the winches, but the net anchors hammering into those winches every single time over and over again. So I'm going to put a timer in this, and this was going to be, I think it's RTF. Yep, we're going to put an RTF timer in, and we're going to set this to 10 seconds. So if the keypad is on 0, we're going to winch up for 10 seconds, and then we're never going to reset it because it'll be just done. So that'll set that. Okay, now let's go up here and set the rest of the controller up. So we need composite read on-offs. We need 4 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 for each channel we're running. Come on. 3 and 4. And hook all these up to the composite input, just like this. Now if we look over here, it says channel 1 is extend. Boomer, where's extend? There it is. Channel 1 is extend. Channel 2 is retract. Channel 3 is release. Channel 4 is going to be these booms, but obviously we can't hook those to a number, so we're going to use a numerical switch box. So I'm going to hook that up and hook these here. Now this is going to change based on your boat, but we need two constant numbers, which is basically booms up and booms down. So if it's off or on, I want my booms to go out at 0.8. That's like not all the way out, but a little bit up from all the way out. And if they're up, I want them to come in a little bit, which will help us with unloading. They don't have to. We can actually do a 0 there. And that'll put the boom straight up. If you want them to come in a little bit, do like 0.1, or if you want them to stay out a little bit, you can do negative 0.1, but I'm just gonna leave mine at 0. Now, also, when I start my boat, when I spawn my boat in, I want to retract my nets so they're not hanging everywhere. So let's go ahead and put an oar on the retract. And we're just going to retract them for 10 seconds, just like this down here. So we're going to hook right back into this timer. And that should be it. We'll spawn that in and hook everything up. So we're going to start with this composite because that's the one I always forget if I don't hook it up first. Then our on-off data. So we have our extend. Oh, now here's the thing too. I showed you guys I had these hooked up over here to extend, retract. I think this one's on retract. Oh, this one's extend, and this one's on retract. So if we look at these cables, this winch is extending, this one's retracting, and this one right here is releasing. So we need to hook those up appropriately. This one right here, release goes to that one. Retract goes to this one, I think. Yep, and extend goes to this one. And then we got to get our up and our down. So here's our winch down. We're going to hold control and click on all the downs. And then we're going to hold control over here and click on all the ups. Up, 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 up. And then we need winch length. And it doesn't matter which one we use. Just any winch is fine. And then we'll need to hook up our keypad. Now I have a keypad in right here. And then we'll also need our booms. Now my booms are right here on this boat. Now the next thing to make sure is that you have these set appropriately. I have extend as channel 2. Is that, this might be wrong. I think my extend is channel 1 on here. Yeah, channel 1. So extend is channel 1. Release is channel 3. Retract is channel 2. And booms are channel 4. Now I have buttons for extend and retract that are just push buttons. And I have release, catch, and booms on flip switches. So pretty simple. Make sure your keypad is also hooked up, which mine is, and it should retract everything. Slam all the winches into, or the net anchors basically right into the winches. Just like that. Now that one's just sitting on top. It'll move as soon as we wiggle anything. But we want to test everything here real quick. So let's set our winch length to 7. I know on this boat that it's 7 winch length. That's pretty good for unloading my stuff. Now let's go ahead and extend. Yep, it's extending. And let's retract. And it's retracting. Then we can set our winch to whatever we want. Let's check our booms, make sure our booms work. And they look about where we want them to be. Boom, just like that. And we can set our cable out to, let's say, 25 meters. And we instantly start dragging our net on the ground, but that's okay because we're not going very fast. There we go, just like that. And we can actually bring our nets back up, zero them. Now you'll see that the net is so tight that it's not going to allow it to actually zero, but that's okay. And put them back to 25 and make sure everything works. Yep, just like that. And that net is expanding good. extending is working. And you guys will see this thing will get huge. I think it's fully extended, but you can see, you guys, that it's actually kind of collapsed on itself because we don't have enough cable out. So you have to have a big enough winch to have enough cable out for a net this size to work correctly. So I'm actually going to bring mine in a little bit. Not all the way, but just so it's not ridiculous. You can see it's still collapsed, but I'm going to go ahead and run this out to 40 meters. It's still collapsed on itself. So if it's doing this, you just got to retract a little bit more. But you see the nodes start to spread apart. There we go. It's actually still a little bit too big, or you can put a little more cable out. Let's go out to 50. Boom, and it plumes out. Now the net is full size. So when you have these great big nets like this, you have to have enough cable out for them to work correctly. I'm going to try to no clip down so you guys can see the net. Pretty good sized net, and I think it's actually dragging the bottom. It is. So we're not letting any fish go below us by any means, which is pretty sweet. Okay, get back into here. So there you guys have it. You have a full-on net setup, how to make your big nets and how to make them really easily controlled. I hope you guys find this useful, and if you do, stay tuned because the next episode we're going to talk about unloading our nets and actually selling our fish for a profit. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you on the next one.